afternoon, good evening all. It's Bear here. And I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel, A Box with No Lid. A channel dedicated to working with healing and resolving the lived reality and the lived experience that complex trauma creates. Now this next video, yes, it's still going on with the questions. And it's the last question in the first video. But this one has a lot of little hidden edges to it. And what I mean is it helps create the parameters when you start to engage with the outside world in getting some resources for healing. But it also has the double-edged sword of it can create an unrealistic expectation. So as always, we need to have a more balanced understanding of it, but the question still needs to be asked. This also helps to define what we require. And that is, the question is, what do you feel you need to heal? What do you require to heal? It is a challenging question to answer and not as simple as it looks, but it is so important because every single one of us is a unique individual and our circumstances are unique. And we need to have certain things in place to be able to heal. We need to have a large component of our life functional to be able to heal. So that leads to these questions. And in taking notes and in writing down your responses and how you answer these questions will help shape future interactions, especially if you're going down the road of engaging with therapists, mental health workers, and organizations to gain some resources, so that you can have an idea of what it is you're going to ask for, but also how to not get pulled into certain traps when asking. And I'll get to that in a moment. So by answering these questions, what do you feel you require to support your healing journey? What do you need to have in place? Is a list of things that you need. People, situations, certain safety structures, whether it's an economic, having a bit of a better bank balance, the ability to take some time off work, whatever this is what you need. And it's having that outlined before you start pushing some buttons. The next is, what is your triage list? Now this one's really important if you're starting to engage with the mental health sectors and with therapists, is there are certain components of your life that are more critical than others, and in your functional day-to-day stability and the stability of your world. So the things that your trauma has created in you that are most important to you need to be identified, and you need to be able to find the right way to explain that to another, to articulate it so that they understand and take it seriously. Because again, especially when you're dealing with public health sector, the public health sectors love to tell you what to do, not ask you what you need. And having an idea of how to articulate your triage list is really important, so you know what to accept and what not. Another part of your triage list is what needs to happen first. You're a unique individual. And if, your relationship is so close to the end of ending, so close to the brink of ending, and the person that you're working with, a therapist, is going, no, you need to learn to breathe. I want to work on stabilizing my relationship first, then I'll learn to do the breathing exercises. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about, of what needs to happen first. It's getting your immediate environment as secure and as stable as possible before going off on what the textbook expects as part of the process. And that naturally leads into the next question. This one is really important to be able to, and I would suggest typing up the response to, a defined response to this question. And whenever you go to engage with a therapist in initial stages or with, public sector mental health or whatever, you have this with you, because this question is what needs to remain functional as you go through this healing process. What do you need to remain functional? That is work, that is dependence, that is your finances, that is your day-to-day functionality and survival. And having an idea of what you need to be considered every step of the way to remain functional, or what needs to be worked on a little bit to get a little more functional before you start pushing some buttons, or before you start learning some exercises or doing body work or so forth and so forth. The other aspects around questions to answer is, what are your feelings and desires around justice and accountability? And this is especially in regards to perpetrators. And this perpetrator could be a person or an institution. Now, this is huge and a very difficult one to address. But it is still important to ask, because I can promise you, as we go through, or as you go through your healing journey, it doesn't matter what therapist you work with. It doesn't matter whether you do it by yourself. It doesn't matter what religion or belief system you're part of. This one's going to come up, and you're going to need to have an idea that you can shape along the way into a realistic, achievable understanding and a measured ability to be able to see that justice has been served in some form. This is not about accepting and allowing. This is about you creating achievable steps in a long journey of gaining that accountability and that understanding by what or who harmed you. And the part of that is, what would you like to see happen with perpetrators, person or institution? But a large part of that too is, what do you require to be able to be protected from that circumstance with them or somebody else? And the last one is around, what are some achievable goals you would like to set as successful markers or successful signposts? Different spots along the way that can mark your achievement. Now, all of these are quite in-depth questions to ask, and I will explore them down the road in future videos. And as I said, now we're still setting up the parameters of where to begin. But part of these parameters and part of working out what we need is, we need to ask ourselves what it is we want. And then by asking what ourselves we want, then we need to take what we want to what it is we need. For me, I know a lot of adoptees who've had negative adoption experiences like mine. They want adoption banned, but the chances of that happening is slim to none. A lot of institutional abuse survivors want those institutions ceasing to function or ceasing to exist. That's not achievable, but accountability is. And as part of our healing and achieving that ability to be seen and to be recognized as a person, we need to bring in some of these parameters as we go through this journey. So initially, our responses or our answers to these questions will be out of balance, and that is okay. That is perfectly normal. And as we go through our journey, we will amend those answers, and we will break those answers down. We will even realize that some of those answers may not be correct, and we will we'll write a whole different answer as we go along. That is normal, that is natural, and that is the progression of healing. But we need to at least have a starting point, and in answering these questions gives us that starting point. So be mindful, be respectful. And as I said, this is just the beginning, so please don't pull things apart. just get some stuff down on paper, get some responses down on paper about answering these questions. And as we go through, you will naturally start to explore them deeper, but you will have the resources and the understanding to be able to do that a little more safely. So as always, be kind, be gentle with yourself, and you are worth this investment. So take the time and see your value. And as always, I humbly ask that you subscribe and like this video. And as always, feel free to comment, interact, send me an email with your questions. As I said, it helps to evolve this channel. It helps me to know where to create videos and what to create further content on. So as always, be safe, be kind, be gentle, and I will see you next time.